Hello YouTube, Captain Mac here, and welcome back to the life of a virtual cargo pilot. Now, I know this isn't where we left off. In fact, what I've done here is I've sort of combined the life of a virtual cargo pilot with FedEx and Lufthansa cargo ops for the time being. And the main reason for that is presently I've got so many different sort of irons in the fire right now that I don't want to spend too much time. Maybe that's not the right word. It's not about spending too much time. It's about not having enough time. And so I'm sort of combining them right now. But the idea behind the FedEx and the Lufthansa cargo ops flights was to spend more time in the 777. And so we're going to do some of that during the life of a virtual cargo pilot. Which is going to be fantastic. The downside, of course, being that we're limited in the quality of 777 that we have at the moment. But as always, we're going to deal with what we have and just press on. So our flight today is going to be from EGSS, or Stansted Airport, which is not where we left off. I realize that. But that's okay. We took a deadhead flight over here, and this is where we're going to go from here. So we're going to go from Stansted, and we're going to fly all the way to Memphis, the FedEx main hub in Memphis. And then from there we can branch out more. We're going to have more of these longer flights because some of you have asked for that. Now, I did catch the comment down there asking about a long flight into JFK. It's on the list, but it's not this flight because this one was already planned by the time I saw that comment. So with all that in mind, what do you say we climb up in the flight deck and let's get to work. Alrighty folks, welcome to the flight deck. You know the drill by now. Let's take a quick look at our flight plan for the day using Sim Toolkit Pro. It is FedEx Flight 0042 from EGSS to KMEM. We're in our Boeing 777 freighter, and we've got an air distance about 4,316 nautical miles. Estimated takeoff weight is 646,708 pounds. And landing weight of 496,385 pounds, which puts our zero fuel weight at 469,990 pounds. We can verify that with the load sheet here in just a moment. We'll do the same with the fuel, but our trip fuel is about 150,000 pounds and change. A little bit of contingency fuel in there. I did not put any additional fuel in. I did make sure that the cost index was higher this time. Set our cost index to 70, so that's going to make this flight just a wee bit slower. Still going to be 10 hours. So long flight any way you shake it. This is our route here. We'll talk about the departure briefing and arrival briefings when appropriate, and then just taking a look at our times. 23:20 Zulu is our off block time, and we should actually be ready to make that. I forgot to change the packs though, so there's not 23 packs on here, I can tell you that. There would only be 2. That'd be me and the co-pilot, but I forgot to change that in SimBrief, and I just now noticed it. So there we have it. And again, we already took a look at those weights, and if we look at our load sheet, we can see those as well. We got our zero fuel weight. Payload is 158,190 pounds. Puts our ramp weight at 648,108 pounds. Now, we're going to depart and climb to flight level 300, and then at Resno do a step climb to 320, and then YRI up to 340 for our final cruise altitude. Alright, so with the formalities out of the way, we've already gone through the pre-flight. I've set the block fuel and the payload. Parking brake is set. Battery switch is obviously on. Primary flight computers are auto with the guard closed. Thrust asymmetry compensation is on auto. APU gen switch is in the on position, but the APU is not running at the moment. Cabin utilities on. Left and right bus tie switches are on. Left and right generator control switches are on. Backup generator switches are on. APU selector switch is off. Nav light is on. Logo light is on. Cockpit lights are set as needed. Emergency exit lights are armed with the guard closed. Left and right pack control switches are set to auto. Aorous is on, and FMC initialization is complete. That is your pre-flight checklist. Now, as I press forward here, I'm going to go ahead and just pop up the cockpit preparation checklist for you here so you can see that. And I've already taken care of some of this as well, window heat and so on and so forth. Our overhead panel is pretty much ready to go, and I'm going to show you what we got going down here with the flight plan. Hopefully I was smart enough to keep the checklist off to the side and out of the way here. So if we go to our route page here real quick, there it is, EGSS to Memphis. Just taking a look at the legs page, all kinds of good stuff in there. Not that we're going to review all these, just kind of showing them to you. One thing I've noticed, there is no step climb programmed in here. So when we go to our VNAV page and go to the cruise page. We'll have to change that in flight, and we should be good to go once we get that started. We've set our departure already. It's going to be the EW. I think that's probably how you say it. The EW 1R departure. It was originally scheduled for the 1S, but the wind changed, and the 1S is for the other runway. We're going to be taking runway 22. Weather right now is wind 150 at 7 knots and 3021 on the altimeter. So continuing forward here, performance, we've got everything in there the way it's supposed to be. You can see the cost index is at 70, and that's per the flight plan, so we're good on that. Plenty of fuel in there, 178,100 pounds, which, and let me just cross-check that. So we were scheduled for 178,118, so we're pretty much right there. And then full thrust, we're going to need it for this takeoff. We are pretty heavy. And then this is the one area I just wanted to discuss real briefly. I did pull up TopCat. Now, I don't trust the numbers entirely, but these V speeds are higher than what the FMC plotted, and so I went with them. Because I just haven't been comfortable with the V speeds in this thing. I think the last flight, it was like the rotate was like, what, 104 knots or something crazy like that. And somebody put in the comments that they didn't agree with that either, and I just flat out don't. That's just crazy. So that's what we're going to go with for our V speeds. You can put those in there. So for example, if I wanted to change V1 to 151, I just type it in, line select key, and you're good to go. And V1 was between 150 and 155 on TopCat, so 151 will be just fine for us. It's not going to make any difference. I think this view, no, that view is not going to work better. So we'll just go right back over here. So with V2 being 165, then I like to set this guy at 175. So let's scroll that down a little bit here. I can't seem to... Maybe I need to click on, yeah, that's what you got to do. You got to click on the other side of it. So flight level 300 to start out. It's just so much easier than trying to scroll this thing all the way up. So 300 on the way out. Let's get the flight directors on here. Auto throttles can stay off for the moment. LNAV and VNAV can both be armed. And we said that altimeter was 3021, so we'll crank that up. Everywhere I go, it's really high pressure lately. And I pulled that a little while ago. Maybe 20 minutes ago. So I'm just going to hit the Bravo key. Yep, and it stays the same, so we're good on that. I'm going to bring this out just a wee little bit here. I don't think the TCAS test works on this guy. I don't know why it doesn't let you test it. There's so many things that don't work right now, but I'm not going to sit here and mess around with it. Center pumps are going to come on right here. I don't know if we need the crossfeed yet or not. You usually get a warning if you don't need it. So we're going to leave the crossfeed on for the moment, see how that works out. We're going to go ahead and start the APU. Get that bad boy spinning up here, and I've shown you guys this before. You go to the what is it, the status page, and sometimes every once in a blue moon it'll show it starting up, but most of the time it doesn't. Yeah, see, we got cross feed forward, so we don't need that on, is what that's telling us. So we'll go ahead and just turn that right back off, and then come back down to this view, and this will tell us once the APU is running. So, and it popped up. Boy, that thing starts up really fast, doesn't it? The only thing I don't get on here is the trim setting, so I'm going to double check TopCat on that, and then just make sure everything's cleaned up, ready to go, and then we'll come back, push, and start. Alrighty folks, we're pretty much ready to push back here. Right before we do, I'm going to give a taxi and departure briefing just really quick. We're going to be taking runway 22 up here, so when we push back, we got to pull out of the apron this way here. So we're going to push back with our nose to the left, our tail to the right. And then we're going to take, if I remember correctly, we're going to have to hang a left out here on Juliet, cross over on Yankee to Hotel because our wings are too wide for this area right here. So we'll cross over on the Hotel, and we'll take that up here all the way to the furthest taxiway here, which is Sierra, and then we'll hold short of the runway from there. Pretty straightforward stuff. ATIS on 127.180. We've already pulled that. Delivery on 21.955. Ground on 121.730. And tower on 123.805. We do need to be aware of the hotspot up here. That obviously makes sense. I did want to note, I forgot to say it earlier, I am using AIG traffic, but when I load it in, even with it maxed out, there's no traffic at Stansted right now. So I'm not sure if I buy that or not, but there you have it. So didn't see any traffic, but I may have to adjust that slider depending on how our frame rates work out with that. So We don't have to worry about a low visibility takeoff down here. Visibility is fantastic. So let's take a look at this departure now. Again, pretty straightforward. We're going to come out here to 3.1, start making that right turn out here to BKY. And then when we get 5 from BKY, we need to be between 3 and 4,000. Then we're going to hold that 4,000. We've made this departure before, or a similar one. We're going to hold that 4,000 until we get all the way out here to Ottawa. And then we can start our climb basically from there. Transition altitude 6,000 feet, and everything else here is basically what I just said, but in text format. So that's our taxi and our departure briefing. Let me slide these back over to the side here, get everything else, make sure it's ready to go. And while that's getting all spun up, let's go ahead and ask for our pushback here. Not sure where there it is right there. Okay, so let's pre-plan it. There we go, hit enter and request pushback. We do have a truck,
cockpit to ground,
which means we're going to get the talkie-talk. Alright, so while we're standing by for him, the before start checklist. Cabin and cargo doors are closed and armed. External power is disconnected. We are on the APU power. Well, it's not really disconnected. And we're on the APU, so we'll turn external power off. That'll take care of that, and we should be good to go. Get back to a view that's usable for us here. The right electric demand hydraulic pump selector is on auto, so this is going to be coming these guys right here, right? So the right hydraulic demand pump selector, these are the demand pump selectors.
All doors and hatches closed and all ground equipment is removed.
It's just not worth talking over them.
The parking brakes are set. You may lift.
Parking brake set. Lifting the aircraft.
Okay, so these are all of our hydraulics here, right? So right electric demand hydraulic pump selector, that one's on auto. Primary C1 and C2.
Start and push.
These two are on.
Okay, cleared for push start. Please release parking brake.
Parking brakes are released.
Commencing pushback.
I just don't want to talk over them.
Okay.
Okay. Oh my gosh. Stop talking. Thank you. C1 and C2 are on. Left electric is on auto. C1 and C2 air demand hydraulic pump selectors are on auto as well. Everything is as it's supposed to be. Left and right fuel pump selectors are in the on, or fuel pump switches are in the on position. Seatbelt sign is on. Beacon light can go on at this point. Probably should have put it on when we put the APU on. Recall switch doesn't work in this thing, so we're ready to start. It's an auto start in this aircraft. Probably the easiest way to do is you can just put both those to the on position. Let me jump to a view so you can actually see it properly here. The start function's up here. We're going to start with engine number 2. Left click over to start. And let's put this on the engine page here. Zoom in. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. I know we've got this EGSS is corrected up here. Should this one not also be these round dials and not the square ones? I think these come from the 747 default. I don't know. Alright, so there you have it. We're going to finish the pushback. I'm going to finish starting the engines. We'll come back on. We'll do our after engine before taxi, or after start and before taxi checklist, and then we'll get out of here. Alright, we're just about done with the engine start on number 1. I think you guys probably know by now I'm trying to move just a little bit quicker on some of these, try and get the overall video time down just a little bit. So let's take a look at our before taxi checklist. Left and right generator control switches on and lights off. Let me just get to an overhead view here so you can see a little bit better. So your generators are over here. These are the left and rights. They're on with the light. When it says lights off, it's talking about the fault light. APU selector switch can go to the off position. Both of them are up and running now, so we can turn that off. Leave that one on, otherwise you get a warning on the EGSS. Engine start selectors are both in the normal position up here. Left and right pack control switches, we couldn't change those anyway. Left, center, right isolation switch valve switches are all auto. That's these guys right here. Engine bleed air switches are on and the lights are off. Same thing, fault light being off. We do need to set the flaps. We're going to be doing flaps 15 for our takeoff. So let's get those in. That's 1, that's 5, and that's 15 right there. Fantastic. Stabilizer trim, we put it at 8.5. Now, I think it probably should be higher, but for whatever reason, it doesn't like it when I go too far past that little green line there. So we're going to go with 8.5 since I don't really know. Flight controls, let's check those really quick. Free and correct. So full left, full right, all the way up and down, and then on the rudder, full left, full right. And I know it bounces around and doesn't go full left, and that's because my rudder pedals are a mess. But I don't have the money for new ones right now, so we're going to stick with it. Recall switch, can't push it anyway. Wing and engine anti-ice are auto or as needed. And taxi light, runway turn-off lights as needed. We'll get both of those on right now. Runway turn-off lights Oh, my mouse just like completely said, nope, I'm not gonna go over there. And taxi lights on there, and then let's go ahead and bring this dome light down just a wee bit. We'll leave it on just a little. It's late at night, so yeah, that's I can work with that actually. That's fantastic. So let's go ahead and let's get the parking brakes off. Start our taxi here. I think we need to bring those dome lights down just a bit further, don't you? Yeah, there you have it. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead. You guys know the drill here as well. I am recording this for cinematic. So yeah. Oh, that's what I was going to say. You guys let me know in the comments section. Give me some feedback. Do you want to see both engine starts, like the full start? Or are you good with me just showing you how to do it real quick and then pressing on? You know, what do you guys want to see with that? You guys let me know down in the comments section. Same thing with the cinematics. Those do take a lot of work. I enjoy putting them together, but you know, my analytics on my videos are saying that folks aren't really watching a lot of those. So if you don't like them, that's fine. It's not going to hurt my feelings. And you just let me know down in the comments. And if there's enough people that don't really want to see them, maybe we'll just do away with them. Make these videos just a wee bit shorter. Get you to the flying instead of the goofing off, right? All right, with all of that said, I'm going to get back to it here, and I will see you guys when we're holding short of the runway. Alrighty, folks, we got the lights turned up just a little bit so we can see here. Now, I mentioned to you there was no traffic at Stansted when I first loaded it. It's full of traffic now. There's aircraft everywhere, so I actually had to roll back the traffic setting to 50% because, I mean, there was just aircraft at every gate. It was absolutely packed. So take a look real quick at our before takeoff checklist. Landing lights, strobe lights, those are going to come on as we roll out here onto the runway. I'm just going to throw them on right now, make it nice and easy. The good news is it is super late, and so we can get taxi lights off. Wind has shifted a little bit, but we are still taking the same runway. Let's get back to a proper view here. That is not where it's supposed to be. That, I think, is where it's supposed to be. Yeah, I think that's a little better. I actually had to tilt it upwards just a little bit. We're going to start rolling out on the runway here. Auto throttle is armed. Auto brakes are set to RTO. LNAV and VNAV are both armed. You can see both of those right there, so those are looking good. We can't start the clock. Transponder mode is in TARA, and we've selected traffic. I don't see anything coming inbound. I didn't see anything as we were approaching the runway. So we'll pull her out here, get her lined up, and we'll get this bird in the air. We're ready to rock and roll. So a little bit longer on the takeoff sequence, obviously. I'm curious, so the way AIG traffic works, and some of you may already know this, but the way the AIG traffic works is it's not just the models, it's also the flight plans. So I'm curious how many aircraft we will see on our flight. Now there was something that I was going to show you guys, and even though I'm trying to make videos a little bit quicker, I do want to show you this briefly, because if you've never seen this before, this is a pretty big deal actually. So let me just get this set where I need it here, and there we go. Let me bring that over here. Okay, this is our ETOPS. Okay, now this is a visual of our ETOPS, right? So ETOPS is extended twin engine operations, specifically for extended operations over water. We're here at EGSS. These circles represent distances and what we can travel to within a given distance. So if you click on this, you'll see that this is our ETOPS entry point, right? And then it says that the time is 2 hours. So it's 2 hours from here to here. That means it's 2 hours back to here. So that's our entry point for ETOPS. And then this is our equal time point. Now this is equal time between EGPO, which is this airport here, and BGSF, which is this airport up here. And it's essentially almost the same amount of time. It's 2 hours 58 minutes or 2 hours and 18 minutes diversion time. I'm not sure why it shows the difference there. I think 2 hours and 58 minutes is equal to either one of those. Okay, then you come over here. This is our ETOPS exit point. So at this point here, we are closer to our obviously far closer to our arrival, and we're close enough to land that if we have to divert from this point, we're going to make an airport on land anyway. So that's our ETOPS planning. Now I know I wanted to make this video a little quicker. I want to make all of them a little bit quicker, but I just thought I'd show that to you real quick so that you guys had seen that if you never have. Okay. Enough talk about that. Let's bring those throttles up to about 70%, should be, or about 60%. And get them there. That was pretty close. Hit the toga. And they come up so slow. See how slow they're coming up? So at about 75%, I'll release the brakes. And there's 75, and we are rolling. Let me get that dome light turned all the way down. That's not really a good idea to keep that up and running there, is it? Alright, here we go. Airspeed is alive. It's going to be a bit of a crosswind on this takeoff here. Can feel it already. Pretty hard on the right rudder already. There's 80 knots. I love that there's slope in the runways now. No more flat runways. I love it. Alright, coming up on our V speeds here. Going to be cutting it a little close if you ask me. Ooh-wee. Going to be cutting it really close. There's V1. And rotate. Try and keep those wings level, even though I got that right rudder in there. Positive rate of climb, gear coming up. Boy, we used all that runway, didn't we? There we go. Come on up, baby. Nice. Now you guys know the drill. We're just following the flight director here. That's the crosshairs. They're usually magenta. They look a little more pink on this one, but following the crosshairs in the middle there. And remember, we're only going to 4,000. We'll probably bring the autopilot on just a wee bit earlier. Let that speed come up a little bit. We're heavy, so we're probably going to be, flaps 5 for most of the flight at 4,000 feet. By flight at 4,000 feet, I just mean that since we have to maintain 4,000 feet throughout most of this departure, we'll probably be flying that with flaps 5, which we'll go to here momentarily. Just a little bit of nose up trim in there. Go to flaps 5. Let's go ahead and put the autopilot on. Now just don't nosedive on me. It's done that to me many, many times where it just nosedives all of a sudden. I'm going to take... Oh my gosh. Give me that speed. Bring it. Why is it... See, it's nosediving. Look, it's nosediving right now. Why is it doing that? That is just like the most terrible thing. Is it because I brought it on too early? What? See, we're over speed now. That's just ridiculous. And of course I got ACARs running, so that's going to register as an overspeed on ACARs, which I don't like at all. Right? Like, that's insanity. And you know what I just realized? We got to bring this down to 4,000. And we got to get it there quick, because I set it to 30,000 like a fool. There we go, 4,000 feet. Now, of course, we're going to overshoot it just a little bit. That's my bad there. But that nosedive just drives me utterly insane. I can't believe that it does that. I don't know what's causing it. But anyway, track IR's off there. My apologies for that. Like I said, we're going to hold flaps 5 for a minute here. I don't know why the speed went up to 207. Oh, I put it at 207, didn't I? Yeah, because I wanted to go up from 190. All right, that's where I want to be right there. See, look at how high our angle of attack is. That nose is sitting really high. All right, after takeoff checklist, landing gear is up. Auto brakes should be off at this point. They are. They went off automatically. We're not above 10,000 feet. We're not worried about transition altitude. That's 6,000 feet. That takes care of our after takeoff checklist, ladies and gentlemen. That means it is time once again for some of that obligatory elevator music. Alrighty folks, we're partway through our descent at this point. Really quickly here, we're going to need to take care of the arrival. Excuse me, there's a hiccup for you. Arrival and approach briefings. We got 40 nautical miles to do it. I think I can probably get those knocked out in that amount of time. So let me bring this over here real quick if I can get my mouse to work properly. You know, I ordered a new mouse, and then this one started working right, so I sent it back, and now this one's not working right again. I think it's possessed. Alright, let's take a look here. We're going to be on the Blues 3 RNAV arrival. Zoom that in for you a little bit. So the ATIS is on 127.75, airport elevations 341 feet. Now we're already down here a little ways. We came in all the way out of BWG, which isn't even on the screen here. And this is not the scale, this is an inset, right? So from there, we made our way down, just as you see here, at or below 230. This is why we've already begun the descent. We're still higher than we're supposed to be. This aircraft does not descend on schedule properly at all. Just keep that in mind. Anyways, we're going to make our way down here, and then we're going to make essentially what's going to become a downwind for us. So we'll make this left turn at, which one is this? I think this is Clark, past Diggle, and then down here to Dinky. Okay, so there's our arrival. Let's look at our approach briefing real quick. It's the ILS 36 Center. ATIS is on 127.75. I think we already mentioned that. The approach for us is going to be 19.1. Tower is 28.425. Ground is 21.65. Localizer frequency 110.5 with a final approach course 360 degrees. Glide slope intercept at Guinea. At 2,000 feet. Airport elevation 341, touchdown zone elevation 341. Minimum safe altitudes, essentially we're coming in from here and we're coming down here, so but it's 25 and 21, we should be fine. Missed approach is climbed to 3,000 feet outbound the Memphis VOR 360 degree radial, so straight out to Laurie intersection, which is 13.7 nautical miles out, and then hold. And other than that, it's a pretty straightforward approach here. We're going to come down here on vectors. We're going to swing her around to Nesbit at 3,000. Once we cross Nesbit, we will drop down to 2,000 feet for glide slope intercept at Guinea. The weather is looking absolutely splendid. Your typical 200-foot minimums here. Pappy lights on the left-hand side of the runway. And that takes care of our arrival and our approach briefings. And I apologize that I have to keep clearing my throat this morning. It's early. Now, how do we get this bad boy to descend? Well, we're gonna... Oh, the VNAV came off. So, yeah, that's probably part of the problem there. No idea why the VNAV came off, but it came off. So, just start bringing the speed brake out. Now, here's what I dislike here. Notice the throttle's coming up? Why? It's not supposed to. Okay, this is essentially supposed to be flight level change mode. So, it's not descending any quicker. So, you gotta turn your auto throttles off. Now watch, when I cut the throttles back, look at that. It's going to start descending. This is a cargo aircraft. You ever seen the way these guys fly? And they're like race car drivers in the sky. They're like, bring it on! Anyway, get your speed brakes out there a little bit. It's going to help you descend because it's slowing you down. The aircraft is using the rate of descent to control the speed. I'm going to go ahead and continue this. We'll probably get onto vectors and then swing it around. As we get close enough for it to be worth your while, we'll come back on and we'll fly the approach. Alrighty folks, we're just about up to Nesbit here. We're at 3,000 feet, made the turn obviously. Now I did check my AIG traffic. It's not showing that there's any traffic here. I don't know if it just takes a minute to inject it or what's going on, but right now I'm just not getting any traffic. So that stinks because, you know, I'd like to be able to see something. That is not going to the view I wanted to go to. I wanted to get the anti-ice off. We don't need it. So we're probably not going to have any traffic, so sorry about that, but it is what it is. We've been flying without traffic anyway, so I'm used to it. Okay, I took manual control of the speed here because the aircraft is not managing it properly. I don't know why. So we're going to start bringing that speed down throughout that next setting of flaps. That's flaps 15. That's going to slow us down nice and purdy here. We do have the ILS tuned in, obviously. The nav radio is via the FMC, if you're not familiar with this aircraft. And our VREF is 144 knots. So there we go. Let me get the proper view here. Let's get the track IR on. That'll make things a little easier. That's where we need to be, right? close anyway. Okay, let's okay. I'm just making a mess of things here. Why was it just me, or did that seem like it was zoomed in pretty far? This is gonna be a mess now. You watch. It's gonna be messed up because that's too low. Okay, track hour coming on. Boom, there it is. Center it up, maybe. Let's get my head centered first. There we go. All right, let's lock on the localizer here. Should have done that already. My mouse is just like literally. I bought a new mouse. And as soon as I did, this one started working fine. I had to unplug it for something. I plugged it back in. Should have been the first thing I did, apparently, because then it started working fine. I sent the mouse back. My wife took it back yesterday, or day before. Now my mouse isn't working properly again. It works, it just doesn't work very well. So, yeah, awesome on that. We're going to get that fixed. I'm going to have to order a mouse again. So, but at least it's working well enough to make things happen here. Okay, we're not using auto brakes on this one. Let's take a look at our landing checklist here. Landing lights are on. Speed brakes are not armed, actually. Let's go ahead and arm those. Or maybe they were armed. What the heck, man? Arm. Oh, they don't move on this one. The little thing comes on, but they're not moving. That's not helpful. Alrighty then. Seatbelt sign is on. Altimeters. Look at that. I didn't even change them from standard. How awesome is that? That is not the altimeter, though. I can tell you that. Let me just beat Bravo key there. Nice job there, Captain Mac. Okay, we're about to cross Nesbitt now. Apologize. Things are a little bit of a mess here. It is early in the morning, so. We'll get her squared away here, and as soon as we intercept the glide slope, we'll put the landing gear out and finish configuring for the approach. Alright, so it just checked. As we've gotten closer to the airfield here, the traffic seems to be populating in, so there is every possibility that we'll get some choppiness on the way in. This is my first use of AIT traffic, so now I don't know why this thing is on the descent already. We haven't reached the glide slope intercept point. But you see it's descending at 500 feet per minute. That's a no-go. So I'm going to hit hold. We are armed on the approach, right? Nope, we are now. It might have, I thought I armed it. Maybe I didn't. Nope, because we captured the localizer. I'm a bit of a mess this morning. We're going to get her. We're getting her squared away. Nobody's perfect, right? Real world, obviously, this would be unacceptable. There's the glide slope. It's locked onto it. Hasn't intercepted it yet. And again, we're 144, so we want to be 149 on here. Okay, let's see if she goes down. There she goes. Okay, let's get the landing gear out. Bring this all the way down to 149 as we bring in the next setting of flaps. Here we go, 149. Flaps 25. No auto brakes on this one. Not necessary. Let those flaps finish coming in. I mean, we got plenty of distance. It's not like we're right on top of it here, so we're good. And down to flaps 30. Yeah, forgetting to set the altimeter. That's not a good thing. Not safe there. Don't forget to set your altimeter. And adjust my headset. Okay, landing lights are on. Landing gear is down and locked green. Flaps are set to full. Auto brakes are set to 0. Spoilers are armed. View is centered. Track IR is on. We are good to go. Let's fly the aircraft. There is absolutely zero audible warning when you turn off the auto throttle, or not the auto throttle, the autopilot on this thing. Oop. That was so my throttles, that's where they dropped right to their position immediately. When I took the auto throttle off, as soon as you move your throttles, the thrust in the aircraft changes to wherever your throttles are set at. Alright, we're looking good though. Nice descent rate, 800 feet per minute. Just a touch of chop coming in there. Not really surprising because I think it's still loading in aircraft. Now, if that's true, I don't really like that it does that. I'd rather it load those aircraft in when I'm, 50 or 100 miles out. All right, let's listen for call-outs. And let's stick her on the runway. Those are so quiet. Somebody said check my volume settings in the sim. I will after this flight. I'm pretty sure they were good though. We're a little to the right here.
200.
Continue.
100. 50. 40. 30. 20.
Oh, too hard. Oh my gosh, look at that float. Alright, we're going around. I didn't even set go around altitude. Unbelievable. I'll be back on here shortly, guys. That was the most ridiculous float on the planet. Alrighty, folks, we're making our turn to Nesbitt here. I will say the aircraft does not fly very well either. Hand flying it, like the auto throttle's junk. Like it's accelerating past the speed that I have set because it just has no concept of control. I'm turning the auto throttles off too. I mean, we're flat out gonna have to hand fly this plane. That's all there is to it, which is fine. I don't really have a problem with that, except that this is a 777 and it's got a lot of automated systems for a lot of reasons. Alright, getting some thrust in there. Let's start making this turn towards final. It's gonna be a nice gentle turn. I don't want it to be too steep. We're right at 3,020 feet, so I'm going to record a little longer here than I might normally because it's a manual or a hand flown approach, and I'm sure you guys would like to see that. We're set at 6,000 for our go around altitude. Not that it matters if we have to do another missed approach. Now, to be fair, initially that missed approach is a bit my fault there. It's not a bit my fault. It's my fault. Right, I flared it like way early and I pulled way too hard. We're descending there. That is one thing I will say about the simulation environment is you don't have the feel in the aircraft that you do in real life, right? And so we need to level out here. And because you don't have that feel, sometimes, you know, if you don't pay really close attention to your instruments, you won't even realize that you're on the descent. Let's get the next setting of flaps coming in. Just trying to maintain my speed. So I'm maintaining my speed manually. Don't want to descend yet. Actually, yeah, we can start our descent now. We're past Nesbitt. We're on to, it shows Lori next, which I believe is incorrect, right? Yeah, it should be Guinea, but it's not showing that. So just a little left of course here. So we'll just take it nice and easy here, and it's okay that we're on a little bit of a descent because glide slope intercept is at 2,000 feet, but you can see that it's alive now, it's moving, and so we're just waiting for that to center up. I'm gonna go ahead and throw out the gear now, since we're hand flying it. Start bringing that drag out there now. That's fine, and even though we're a little beneath the glide slope and descending slightly, again, glide slope intercept is at 2,000 feet, which is 280 feet to go, and that diamond's coming down, which means we're going to capture that glide slope nicely. So I'm not too worried about it. Next setting of flaps coming in, flaps 20 there. It should also bring our speed down some more. As you see, it makes us want to climb. I don't want it to climb, so just a little nose down trim. A little went a long way there. And see, now we're descending just a little quicker than I want to. Next setting of flaps coming in. There's 1900, so we're now technically below the glide slope. So there we go. Right there's where we want to be. Nose it over. Finish getting those flaps in. And then once I get everything set, there's flaps 30 coming in. There's our VREF speed right there. We're descending a little quick, but we are above the glide slope right now. So I'm just working on controlling the thrust and setting the trim for speed. We trim for speed, not for altitude. We're a little left of center. So we should be descending at around 800 feet per minute. We're too slow. Sometimes you just gotta crank that thrust up a little bit. There's 700 feet per minute now. We can roll that thrust back. I'm where I want to be on that. But of course we're a little high now. That's okay. We're visual, but I'm trying to get it on the glide slope without forcing it on there really fast. It's weird how the speed takes so long to build but is reducing so quick when it was the opposite a little while ago. Okay, we got that speed coming back down now. We're just sending a little higher a rate than we would want to, but we're just trying to get back on that glide slope there, which we're almost there. I never saw the PAPI lights. This is an add-on runway or an add-on airport, so not sure what's going on with that. But okay, let's listen to the rest of the call-outs, and we're visual at this point, so let's fly her in. Let's make sure our speed brakes are armed, and let's not flare at 50 feet here. Continue.
100. 50. 40. 30. 20. 10.
Alright, not bad. Minus 300 feet per minute. Reverse thrust coming in. I'm not even manually braking at the moment. I'm just reversing thrust here. There's 80 knots. And we got to go all the way to the end anyway, so I'm going to let her roll out here. Let's get the speed brakes down. We're going to take her all the way down to the end of the runway and exit off to the right, and that's going to take us straight to our parking area. Do we have aircraft out here? We should. We should have aircraft out here. Alright, so it was a good landing. Really unfortunate that you know, the missed approach is the missed approach. I wasn't going to force that thing down. I could have landed it. We all know I could have landed it. I'm in full manual braking right now. This aircraft's heavy. So obviously I could have landed the aircraft, but we would have landed seriously long. We would have landed dangerously long. So let me get the APU coming on here. There we go. Slow down a little bit more for this turn. I'm going to taxi over to the cargo ramp here, and then I will come back on. We will finish this flight up and we'll call it done and dusted. Alrighty folks, well there is traffic here at the airport. I cranked it back up to 100 to see if any more would pop in, but so far it hasn't, which is a little surprising. This is the main FedEx hub, and I definitely have FedEx models in. I made sure of that. But we don't have any here right now. I did the after landing checklist. I just didn't do it verbally with you guys. Some of it I did after I broke away from there. So just real quick, landing lights had to come off, strobe lights off, taxi light was on, APU selector switch, you guys saw me turn that on, wing and engine anti-ice were off, auto brakes were off, speed brakes were down, flaps up. And the only thing I didn't do was put the transponder mode to standby. That's this guy way over here. Put that to standby. The APU is running. We are on the APU gen. We have external power available, so let's go ahead and get the engines off at this point. That's fantastic. And then just clean up for the aircraft. So what I'm going to do here is go ahead and take advantage of that external power. We're on that now. We can turn the APU off. The left and right gens can go off. Bleeds can go off. APU bleed can go off as well. We don't need that on right now. We don't need wing lights. Logo lights will stay on for now. Nav lights will stay on. Beacon lights can go off. The other lights are already off, so we're in a good position there. And okay, yeah, it likes to jump back to the last view, doesn't it? Let's take a look at our shutdown checklist. Parking brake is set. Taxi light is off. Left and right engine fuel control switches are cut off. Seatbelt signs are off. It says nav light on, which we left on. We're going to leave the logo light on. Can't do anything with the hydraulics here. We're going to leave those as is, except for the primary left and rights, which we've already put in the off position. Fuel pump switches are off. Flight director switches are off. APU selector switches as needed. And that means that's going to wrap it up for this one, ladies and gentlemen. Let me just show you real quick, just so you can see here. So this is the traffic controller for AIG. This is where we're at right here. All these little squares, these are vehicles. So it's injecting vehicles, and it's injecting aircraft, but not very many of them. So there you have it. You can see it's just not injecting traffic for whatever reason. It's not the end of the world. We're used to it at this point. I'm not too worried about it. All of that being said, it ended up being a really good flight. Obviously, I slept through part of it. Had to. It was an all-night flight, and I had work yesterday. But it worked out nicely, coming in on the arrival, and then, of course, with the missed approach. Very frustrating. Very, very frustrating. But that's the nature of things, I guess. That's what we're going to have to deal with until PMDG is ready to put a 777 out there. So if anybody from PMDG just happens to grace me with their presence, and I don't mean that sarcastically, if you happen to be watching my channel, A, I appreciate it very much, and B, love your aircraft. So do me a favor and work on that 777 next. I'm sure we would all appreciate it very much, because this offering from Captain Sim is, quite frankly, very shameful. And that's going to wrap it up, folks. Do give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed the content. It does make a difference. I know you hear that all the time from YouTubers, but it's the way YouTube's algorithm works now. It makes a big difference. So I'm very grateful for your thumbs up and your subscriptions. If you like the content, hit the subscribe button if you think that I've earned it, and click on the little bell for notifications. That's it. That's all and no more, ladies and gentlemen. Until next time, as always, keep the blue side up unless otherwise instructed by ATC. God bless you all and have an absolutely wonderful day.